Here is my leadership action plan by Kaleigh, St. Cloud State University. So, what we will be covering in this presentation, first looking at findings based on personality tests, leadership instruments, and questionnaires. Next, looking at strengths of myself as a leader. Third, looking at areas of improvement. Fourth, developing the SMART goal, including action steps and specific dates. Fifth, a loose timeline throughout that 6 to 12 months. And then finally, taking a look at sources used. So to start off for leadership tests and questionnaires, this at the start of this last school year in August of 2022, we had completed Type Coach as a school in a district. It was the findings that we had were brought back to our department. So in my case, high school social studies, but of course the tests and inventories were taken as individuals. My results were ESTP. There are many different versions of what that stands for, depending upon the personality test, but extroversion, sensing, thinking, and perception. Some words that came with the ESTP were observant, fun, charming, practical, take charge, hands-on, talkative, get it done, active, and inventive. Those that fall under ESTP tend to be very action-oriented, with remarkable memories, risk takers, with high energy, and very social. Next, throughout reading the Nordhaus leadership theory and practice text, I found sparked a lot of interest in the inclusivity and inclusive leadership based on my involvement in our equity team at our school and district level. My score in that leadership instrument was a 14. And it stated that a score of 10 to 19 suggests that you are working to become an inclusive leader. I would definitely agree that I'd be on way more of the beginning end of that working as I look forward to continuing on. The purpose is to reflect on my own inclusive behaviors and challenge myself to exhibit those inclusive behaviors in daily interactions with coworkers, staff members, and students. Transformational leadership inventory. This was another questionnaire that really sparked my mind as we continued to read. The purpose is to determine which style of leadership that you intend to use, transformational or transactional. My transformational leadership score was a 18. The highest score was a 20. So I definitely fall under more of that transformational leadership, and I prefer that leadership style. I think part of that has to do with we did a book study with our activities director, advisors, and coaches alike. I advise National Honor Society and coach girls hockey, and that was the text Inside Out Coaching by Joe Ehrman. And it just did a really nice job displaying what a transformational leadership is regarding young athletes and coaches, along with just everyday life, work life, how you can make those steps in transforming and not just transacting for wins, losses, test scores, and so on. Some patterns that I noticed throughout, just the various personality tests as well as leadership questionnaires that we took throughout. There were kind of three big things that kept coming back for strengths for myself: practical detail, that remarkable memory, and more of a focus at the micro level. Self-confidence kept coming up, networking skills, honesty, and being able to be honest and confident in yourself so you can be honest with others. And then that live for action piece, boasting that confidence. And then for sure, the biggest trend that continued to come was relationships, just being very social, people driven, I'm attracted to those leadership styles that are more extroverted and social, easy time talking, and really the curiosity about others and others' leadership styles. Now, some areas of improvement. Another pattern that continued to come up: organization. The fact that many people that have a similar personality type as myself, leadership type, tend to be unstructured and may miss the big picture while being consumed with that micro level. Unclear communication. So, the ability to be social and talk and communicate isn't necessarily the weakness. It's the unclear communication and relaying those expectations for coworkers, employees, and students alike to be more direct. And then the third, being judgmental, impatient, not thinking long term, and jumping to those quick judgments, is particularly in social settings. Now, opportunities, as I look at the strengths and my areas of improvement, I would say setting alarms and reminders, working on directness, build tools to assess risks as I continue on as more of that extroverted leader, and becoming an expert on district workplace expectations. So, action plan. That first area of improvement was organization. So my goal, improve my organizational skills to further enhance my productivity and ability to lead at work. I divided the action steps in three parts, and I'll explain why in a little bit. The first, that would take place from August 30th to October 30th, about a 2-month window there. Write in a daily planner from the start of future workshops through MEA break. I believe that'll create habits that will help keep my work life, personal life organized, and hopefully avoid missing deadlines along the way. That second action step is to create a checklist at the start of each week over a 3-month span. That could be physical. I've explored electronic options such as apps, on my phone and computer. But that would be right following MEA. Now that I'd be writing in my planner through January 31st. Now I can go even at a smaller level, week by week, what that checklist is of things that need to get done at work. And then finally, end the school year building on new and improved habits by reading a book on organization and implementing one new idea each month that will help my organization. So really 3 to 4 new ideas that would be implemented just once a month based upon that book. One thing that can be difficult in terms of an obstacle that I would consider would be letting other parts of my job take precedent and becoming distracted from the action steps to improve upon my measurable goal of organization, and having these tangible number of items to complete will let me know if I have completed that growth goal. So the next area of improvement is unclear communication. So my goal is to better my directness in emails, phone calls, text messages, and one-on-one conversations. The first action step would be to opt for face-to-face conversation with a coworker instead of resorting to an email or phone call 2 to 3 times per month. I believe that would help me be more direct and force myself to get to the point when it's face-to-face. And that can be, kept track of, electronically or physically, those 2 to 3 times per month. That would take place from teacher workshop just past MEA break. The next action step would be to complete a journal on becoming and exercising self-awareness. I think that exercising self-awareness and building upon my own self-awareness will help me to learn how to act in certain situations. I hope that would improve my listening skills, and those listening skills ultimately would help my direct communication in striving to continue on the transformational leadership track. That would take place from October 31st to January 31st, 2024. And then the final action step for unclear communication would be in email correspondence, focus on facts rather than feelings, maybe printing a visual or a graphic that helps encourage getting to the point. A new visual or graphic once a month. So when so many of those, text, email correspondence come, there's a place for me to look to continue to be more direct. And that would be February 1st till the end of the school year. Obstacle, my desire to be social and well liked will deter me from direct conversations regarding tasks that need to be completed. Last area of improvement here that I highlighted was judgmental. The goal would be continue to build upon being an inclusive leader while working on removing subconscious bias and judgment. The first action step from August 30th to October 30th would be to read a book that will help distinguish judging actions versus judging others. And hopefully, being able to read that book over that 2-month stance will help grow as an inclusive leader. That second action step would be to turn into an opportunity for introspection, to consider questions like why I think that other person's actions push my buttons. How can I work on improving my own insecurities to avoid judgment? And by doing that, I'd have a tangible journal. So when I do find myself being judgmental internally or externally, I can jot down those triggers over that 3-month period and maybe have some reflection time over, winter break away from school. And then my last action step would be to attend an in-person or virtual workshop on creating a judgment-free workplace, looking to build upon a positive culture and welcoming environment. And I would reflect following that workshop back to that journal in action step number 2. And that would take us from February 1st to June 1st. The obstacle, ESTP are overly social and at times are prone to risks such as judging others. So the timeline. Teacher workshops is where those goals would be set with the tangible action steps. I said earlier I would explain those timelines. Our school district operates on a trimester system, so everything with my brain really, takes the school year and divides it up into 3. So when considering those action steps over 6 to 12 months, it really made the most sense for me to ballpark go based upon trimesters. Trimester 1, continue to track action steps. Trimester 2, reflect and improve on those action steps 2 and 3. And then finally, that third trimester would be setting sights on how to continue to improve, those weaknesses over the summer. I'm going to end with this quote from President JFK. Leadership and learning are indispensable to one another. I look forward to leading and learning lots about myself, both strengths and areas of improvement as I go. Thank you for listening.